Hey guys, welcome back. I thought it wouldn't be nice to once make a video about how to make or set up a day trade range or pattern so that you can use it. If you like it, then definitely go ahead. If you don't like it, then it's completely up to you what you do with it. You would highly be appreciated if you would like or subscribe, click on the bell, click on also that you don't miss anything, or leave me a comment. I'm very curious also what you think of my setup. Maybe you have a different setup, or maybe you think this is absolutely BS what I'm telling you right now. Then feel free to leave it all in the comments. Okay, so first of all, I will do two, do one for BTC and one for ETH, so that you kind of have a general idea. So what we first do, we start off with the hourly. You want to identify our environment, right? So we want to know where are we standing right now. Right now, we see that the trend is going lower. We kind of bounce on off, maybe a little bit of sideways action. That is what we have right now. So we're going lower quite fast. You see that the drop is going a little bit slow, and as the bulls are getting, the bears are getting a little bit exhausted. Okay, so that is the first one. But of course, we're not with a daily, we're not going to trade off complete hour candles. We want to have smaller candles, but at least now we have identified the environment. So if we would zoom in then a little bit, you would see that on the 20 minutes, for example, that stuff is already going much more sideways. So then we are seeing, hey, there's maybe not so much movement, but actually we have some volume coming in right here, so that could be interesting. Let's zoom in a little bit more so that we can really maybe identify some ranges. What I then usually do is I start actually off with the 5 minute, and then I just start drawing some lines, see if I can find some confluence. So here you could say this is quite the resistance. Let me see. This with a few fake outs. This could be something. Now let's zoom in a little bit on the 1 minute. And well, not far off, as you can see. Not far off. The internet not super fast. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So in other words, if we would draw just these few simple lines, then we can say that we have very interesting entry and exit locations. You know what, let's draw one more here. Actually, look at that, perfect. So then you could say, you know what, I'm taking entries here and here, taking an exit here or an entry, and when we drop down, I take profits here and I go long. And since I know already draw this line because it's laying over here, then once this is zigzagging down, you take your profit here, you might entertain a long, and you go up, you do it again. This one was a little bit harder to identify because you start your line here and then here really starts having some confluence. It was a little bit harder, and then you have one here, and that's actually how you can trade just these patterns up and down, up and down, up and down. It's not always clear when it will go up and when it will go down, because we could go down here, you could say, hey, it's going to test this bottom line, right? That then doesn't happen. You can say, hey, now we're going for the second time, also doesn't happen. Now third time, then also doesn't happen, and then we go back up. So that could be sometimes a little bit difficult to identify, but at least it is a trading setup. Now I know guys who are trading with 100x or 50x. I usually never do that. That is just makes me very nervous. I start making mistakes, so I actually never ever do that. But there are people doing it, and they're doing it successfully. So it's up to you. I would definitely say, if you're doing it and you're taking always these small moves, what is it, 1%, 1.5%, then take always low leverage. Start with low leverage, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's kind of how you work your way up. Because you know what, why, if you are not successful with $1,000 on your account, you will also never be successful with 50k or 100k on your account. So just focus on the percentages, so focus on the profit. Just make sure that you have as many profitable trades as possible with a nice profit, and keep your losses small. and then you will see in a long period of time that that's going better and better. So this could be a setup for the day, and usually what you then see is the price is moving within a certain setup for that period, and then kind of it gets out and goes to a new pattern or a new setup, or it breaks down and then makes on a high level, so really like an hourly, 4 hourly, daily, a new range. And actually you could see that right here. This was a range, this is a range. This one is a little bit ugly, but matter of fact you can even draw some lines here and say this is a range, this is a range. So you can see that we're trading most of the time in these ranges. Then we are making going to a new period. This is usually not so in time, this is not so long. Then we are new range again, new range again, new range again, new range, this is a new range, and then we'll see what happens during the weekend. So that's kind of how you can identify it. Let's do one more for Ethereum, and then we're calling it a day. So here, same story. What do we have? We have a downtrend that is kind of go a little bit slower, taking a bit of a breather. We have this resistance line. So okay, in generally we are going down. All right, cool. Then let's zoom in on the 15 minutes. What do we see there? Some spiky action. That is what we're seeing, because you can have some trades here, 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 and suddenly boom, lower, boom, up, bam, 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 lower, beneath the resistance ticker. Oh, this is gonna dump down, and then we're going up again. So this one is a little bit harder to trade. Although my profits on ETH are usually a little bit bigger than on BTC, because the spikes percentage-wise are just bigger, it is, I find, harder to trade. The one who follows the patterns the best is BTC, because liquidity there is much higher. All right, so let's go further. Zooming in here a little bit, we can do the exact same. Let's draw some lines. Some support and resistance is coming in, and yeah, that looks good. Maybe I can do here one more. Let's see. Look at this. This actually looks really good. So I mean, this is of course in hindsight, because the pattern already played out. But as the pattern is evolving, like as you have a touch point here and here and here, just already start drawing these lines, you know. You don't have the rest yet, but just start drawing these lines, and then later on you'll see that you can just extend the line and it just goes further, and the same goes for here. And when you have a bounce off, then you can say, hey, this could be a bottom, and then later on you see another bounce off, say, yeah, definitely a bottom, and then we're breaking through, and then we have some resistance, and then here we're breaking through. So it just works very, very well. And again, here the same kind of story. I mean, when we just came in, it's hard to say, hey, when do I go long, when do I go short? But you just wait a little bit. Hey, we have a touch point here, we have a touch point here, we have a touch point here. Now you already have a few touch points. You can start drawing lines, and the same goes for here. And hope you guys can hear me, someone talking in the background. And then you can just trade off these lines to go short. Sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating, can be a little bit sweaty, because you're like, oh my god, I'm going in short here, and it's like boom, we're bouncing back up, and then you're kind of break even or a little bit underwater, and we're going down again, and then we're going almost back up again. So I can imagine that that can be a little bit intimidating, like I said, or a little bit scary. But this is also just practice, 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 and that's for also say to use small amounts, low leverage, so that you can have a lot of mistakes. Just if you make 100 mistakes, it's completely fine. At least learn from those 100 mistakes, but also have the funds to make 100 mistakes. So just always use small amounts. And if you win, you're like, oh man, I wish I put it in more money. Yep, but if you lose, then you might be thinking, thank God it was only $10 or $5 or $100, whatever then your budget is. And you will make those mistakes. 100% sure you are going to make mistakes, you're going to lose money, especially when you're doing day trading, because 90%, and this is just a fact, 90% of all day traders are not profitable. So it's very hard. If you feel like, you know what, this is stressing me out to look at the charts all the time, I don't have time to look at the charts all the time, then leave the 1 minute, leave the 5 minute, leave the 15 minute, just look at 1 hour, but preferably then 4 hours and daily higher. Stop trading leverage, just buy some, sell some, buy some, sell some on spot, just really just the whole thing and not with a leverage. And then you also have less sleepless nights, but then you can also distinguish trends much better, and these are also much more powerful to distinguish. I mean, look at this trend right here. I mean, now we broke the line, but you could say, hey, you know what, this is actually a perfect trend line to trade, and it was very easy to do and doesn't give you any stress. And as you can see, this is also quite long in time. This from to go from top to the bottom took more than 2 days, 2.5 days. So you know, that really then doesn't give you a lot of stress. But also if you say, hey, you know what, I'm trading this up, then you also have a week before you can, let's say, exit. So yeah, if you feel like I don't want to look at the charts all day, I just like it to trade once a week or twice a week, then definitely just look at the very big high time frames, start drawing some lines, start finding some support and resistance, not only with these kind of lines that I'm deleting right now, but also horizontally where you see then the support and resistance coming in. And finally, to wrap everything up, also here, but a little bit less clear than with BTC, you see just trading ranges. So this was then one, this is one a little bit. Here you see then is the double top. This is then one, this is then one, but they're a little bit smaller, they're harder to identify, and therefore also a little bit harder to trade. So yeah, again, if you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, also let me know in the comments. And I really appreciate all your engagement, all your love, all your likes, all your shares. Thank you guys so much again, and see you next one. Bye bye.